Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another exciting Lunch and Learn. Today, our Lunch and Learn will be with Myra Doobie and Devin Schleit. Devin, help me say your name again. I'm so sorry.
Schleit.
Schleit. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought I had
no problem.
Okay. Devin and Myra have been with us before. They are going to talk with you today about funding your cannabis business. And that's one of the most important things that we need right now, as we all know that cannabis is not legal on the federal level. So it makes it really difficult for those folks who are trying to get involved in the cannabis business to find funding, to bank with various banks that are federally insured. So, but raising capital is something that we're going to talk about, some alternative ways to do that. And so without further ado, let me just give you, so we'll have about a 30-minute presentation, and then that will be followed with questions and answers. In the meantime, while you are hearing the presentation, if you have a question, please put it in the Q&A and we will answer those questions for you. Okay, and then after the presentation is over, we'll spend about 30 minutes doing questions and answers. All right, so without further ado, Myra and Devin, thank you again so much for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Go ahead, Devin. I started last time.
No, you go ahead. You start great. Go ahead, Myra.
Okay. Hi, everyone. We are going to be here discussing various ways to fund your cannabis business. And let's jump right into it. Micro lenders are, sorry, I'm blanking out. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Micro lenders. They are not your typical lenders out in the market. They lend anywhere between $5,000 and $100,000. So, you know, addressing micro lenders, you know, just like any other lender that you would go through a bank, you need to have your credit in place, your business plan, which is important, things like that, especially now with the new cannabis business. You should really have your business plan in place on how much money you need and how much money you're going to ask for. So make that clear when you approach any lender that you're gonna ask for funds for your business. And cannabis business is really unique, and you know, you have a big obstacle with cannabis because not every lender is gonna lend to the cannabis business. It's not federally, you know, approved to sell cannabis. So you know, things that you're going to have to do for lenders is different than just getting any of your typical loans. Cannabis businesses that need funding can't go through your typical bank because it's not federally recognized to be legal, just in the state of Connecticut for now that you're doing. So you know, the micro lenders are flexible in their lending requirements, but you have to as well identify that you are requesting funds for cannabis. Devin, if you have anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, first of all, I just want to thank the SEC for putting this together for both of us. And, you know, I started out myself in this business helping out with financial planning and analysis for firms. I have a company called Schleitworks, and knowing that this is a very difficult industry in order to capitalize, create another company called Connecticut Cannabis Capital, trying to help this capitalization and why we're talking about this today. And you know, it comes down to, you know, figuring out what that capital stack is and how expensive it is, you know. And we're going to be going through a bunch of different pieces here, micro lenders, and all these are different strategies in order to make that capital stack go. You know, when you hear the words $1 million, $3 million, sounds like a lot, but the reality is that if you take it down in smaller chunks and you find maybe via these different strategies or some strategies that you come up on by your own, you'll be able to, you know, chip away at that. And they'll all be at different expense levels. So some person may say that they're gonna, so there's two ways to start a company, you know, either debt or equity, or you can kind of do a hybrid of both. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And, you know, debt being the most expensive upfront because of interest rates and those kind of things from folks. But in the long end, it's actually the least expensive. Equity being the least expensive upfront. But in the long run, when you sell your business, hopefully when you're successful, it will be the most expensive given the amount of profits that you're making inside your firm or what your valuation is at that point in time. So something to think about. But micro lenders here, where Myra was just talking about, are some of the folks that you're going to find that are maybe around you. The biggest, this industry being a little taboo, you're going to find people who believe in you, and those folks are going to be your friends and family, or maybe other business people that know you in the area. And micro lenders is just a term for those kind of folks who can give you those smaller chunks of capital. And we'll talk more about friends and family in a little bit too. We touched on this the last webinar, when it comes to that. So, but yeah, that's what I have for now. Thank you.
Okay. Crowdfunding is another popular way of getting your business funded. Crowdfunding, approaching, like Devin said, approaching your friends and family. There's Kickstarter, different online platforms that can help you crowdfund to get your business started. There's Kickstarters and Indiegogo. So there's different ways to fund your business. There's the debt, like Devin said, through Kiva, where they lend you the money and you have to pay them back. And equity funding is another great way, is like under WeFunder. You give people equity in your business. As the business grows, you can pay them back, but the person has equity in your business. A great way is to have your friends and family. And also, when you approach your friends and family, make sure you have your business plan in place. Have it ready. Explain to them how you're going to manage the business, how you're going to start the business, how are you trying to find financing, and see if they'd be willing to invest in you. Because if you come up to them and say, oh, I need some money, and you have no plan, no business plan, no way of how to repay them back, you're not going to get anywhere with that. Having your plan set in motion, having it set with all the numbers that you need, shows a person or the people that you're approaching that you're ready to get your business started. You have a plan in place on how much you need. You have a plan in place on how you're going to pay them back. So be aware too, when you're approaching friends and family, if they're willing to give you money, be aware that not every business is successful just because it's cannabis and you're going to make, $200,000 a month. Not everybody's going to do that. So if you approach them, ask them, how much are you willing to lose? How much are you willing to give me that it's okay if I don't pay you back for some unknown reason? Because, you can really alienate friends and family if you don't pay them back. So, friends and family, approach them cautiously, give them enough knowledge to know that, not every business is going to be successful. But if you have a plan in place and show them that you have your team of accountants, your team of a lender, your team of a coach, a business coach, mentors that you're going to have working with you, you might have a more chance of success. Devin, you have anything else?
Yeah, no, just to reiterate exactly what you're saying. I know we're on the crowdfunding slide here, but these are all different platforms that you can use. But when we're talking about that friends and family thing, the easiest people to approach, you don't want to lose those relationships over a bad business dealing. So, every time, whenever they give you the money, they have to be willing to lose it, and if they're not willing to lose it, then they shouldn't part with it. Like I said, just reiterating what you've said about the business plan. You want to make sure that all these thoughts that you have in your mind about how you're going to do this business is down on paper. You can find a template through the SBA website on how to write a business plan. And the subsection we're really talking about is really the financing mechanism. And when you're deciding to make these plans, always consider a margin of error. So, you may assume this thing's going to cost X, but do X with a multiple of, with some kind of multiple on top of it. in case there are errors or problems that happen, because we make plans, but God laughs. That's the way I like to say it. And, so we always want that margin of error to be calculated into while you're making your financial plans. So thanks.
You want to take that one, Devin?
Sure. Yeah. So, lines of credit. Maybe you currently have a business that you're operating, and, it's a profitable business and you don't use any lines of credit. Well, you could use that line of credit from a bank or an institution where you can use that towards like I said, part of the capital stack that you're going to use for this. So if you don't currently have a line of credit, it's and you're not a current business, you won't get very much of anything at all. But if you have a current profitable business, this is another way to capitalize this other part of a new business line using the current cash flows that you have coming off your current business. So
yes, and make sure that when you go for your line of credit, your credit is clean. One of the things these banks or funders are going to look at is your personal line of credit. It's very important. Try to keep it clean, keep it up, because you're going to be applying for loans. You're going to be, approaching investors, and one of their things they're going to do is a background check and probably a credit check. Private lenders.
Yeah.
Private lenders are really good. These are people who are actively looking to lend out their money. They get better interest rates when they lend out privately than what they can get at a bank. But again, private lenders are going to be looking at your credit and your background check. And you can get equipment financing, real estate financing, and working capital through private lenders. The equipment financing that you might need, let's say, for instance, you need gondolas, retail things for your retail shop, or even if you're going to be a cultivator, you need the equipment to start cultivating and processing. Some of the people who do sell those equipment, they can give you a line of credit or financing for the equipment. So that might be, and again, they're going to look at your credit, and real estate investors might be able to be an investor in your business. What I found out, I'm helping one of the people who are going for the license to look at a place to get a retail space. And, if you're looking at the retail space, but if the person who owns the building has a national bank as their mortgage holder, they won't be able to rent the space to you. But what the person can do is refinance out of that national bank, get a little extra money, and invest in your business that's going to be located in his property using a funding source that is okay with having retail cannabis in their location. So I found, that is an idea to get where you want to do your retail space. Maybe the landlord will invest in your business. Working capital you can get through a private lender as well. But again, you need your credit clean, and you need a solid business plan, and show that you have a team behind you to make this business successful. Want to add anything to that, Devin?
Yeah, no, just the same thing that kind of reiterating here. This is a large, when you're looking at this kind of funding, it's a large amount. And you need to break it down into smaller little chunks. So for example, the real estate itself can be its own financing mechanism. And that financing mechanism could come through, a private note that's through someone else to help you. Maybe it's the building owner himself or herself. Maybe it's, there's a lot of different inventive ways in order to kind of deal with that. And then you have the equipment financing, getting the place just fitted out. If it's a cultivator, buying an extraction machine, buying, all sorts of different kinds of equipment that you'll need in order to make sure you're producing, a safe environment, a safe product. There are equipment manufacturers that won't give that financing. And so, you want to look into that and talk to them and get those terms and get that in your capital stack when you're building that in some spreadsheets in there. The working capital, you're going to need to think about how this business is going to run for the next 6 months. If it runs at a negative, you're going to, let's say you're running a cultivation site, you're going to have multiple, well, hopefully not multiple, but maybe a growth cycle that's bad. So you want to plan for that and understand that that's just a testing phase. You don't just start these things and they just all of a sudden become money-making machines. They take time and reiteration and with the help of consultants, you can make that thing easier and run faster, but you will have time where you have negative cash flows every month. And you need to be able to think about that and be able to solve that negative cash flow bleed to the point where it gets to a positive environment. Same with retail. You're gonna need inventory, and maybe you can figure that out with the people who are supplying you. They'll give you credit terms. These are all different inventive ways to kind of try to fill the financing gap that we're talking about.
Personal. Again, we're talking about the personal and friends and family funding. Again, reiterate that, approaching your friends and family to help you finance your business. Maybe there's someone that that has equity in their property. They want to fund your business, but they don't have the money. They can, pull equity out of their property to see if they can help you finance that way. There's, retirement accounts that can be set up to do financing in your business. Again, carefully approaching your friends and family for money. It's like this saying I never rent to friends or family because, when you put money in the equation, it changes. It just, it could turn out really bad or it could turn out really good. But, be careful when approaching friends and family. They can have, like we're explaining to you, they could take out personal loans. Maybe one of your friends or family has a business. And if they do, talk to them. They'll be your first person to tell you on how to run a business. They could give you ideas or tell you what pain or what headaches they have as a business owner. Approach them, ask them how it is, if you have that. So the same way we're giving you ideas to have, try to find access for your financing, your friends and family, you could tell them maybe they have better credit scores that they can get a personal loan, a working line of credit, a business line of credit. Approach your friends and family, but please be very careful and have your plan in place. Don't just discount them because your friends and family, they'll give me $10,000. Show them your plan. Let them know what you're going to do. Show them what you're going to do. Don't discount them because, it's important that you respect them and they respect you as a person looking to open your business. You have anything else, Devin?
No, just same reiteration here. When taking money, it's one of the easiest, but it can be one of the longest painful things if you were to have an incident where it doesn't work out. So, the assumption should be going in that they're going to lose it. And if they don't, it's 100% upside, the other way it's limited downside if they know that they're going to lose it, right? So you don't want someone who may have come into money and then they're going to give it to you and then they resent you later on because of it. So and nothing to do with your fault at all. It's just markets or things or other business partners or all sorts of things that can happen in life. So even illness, all sorts of things happen. So you just try to be prepared the best you can. But it can be one of the easiest sources, especially if you know of other business owners in an area who are interested in getting this. So, thank you.
Even if it is with friends and family, get it on contract form, in writing through a lawyer, your agreement on how much they're going to give you, how much and when they're going to pay, you're going to pay them back. Always in writing, never just let them hand you a check.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And Yeah, go ahead, Devin.
No, you're doing great. So, I mean, these are some, options that you spoke about before. So I want you to give this part,
Okay.
this is subsection. Go ahead.
You can do, there's different, we have the business credit card, home equity, your 401k savings. We'll start with the first one. You can get your business credit, business cards, if you have, since you're starting out with a business, you might try to get some personal credit cards with high limits, or your current credit cards. See if you can increase the limits. Maybe that's some way you could fund your business. Try not to go, overboard with the credit cards. Have them as an emergency, resource. Your business credit card. Also, if you have a business, you could probably, leverage some of that credit that you have under a business credit card. Your savings or home equity line of credit. Your homes right now, the homes and values have increased, so that, or your friends and family might have a home that has, a lot of equity available that they can leverage. And the interest rates on a home equity loan are a lot cheaper than it would, say, a personal loan. So that might be one way that they can invest, friends and family can invest in you. Is just remember again to ask them for what is okay for them to not get back should something happen. You don't want them, if they have 100,000 equity, to pull out $100,000. No, don't do that. Tell them maybe let's start with just 20 or 10, something, so that they're not completely over leveraging their property. There's 401k that they could use to get to dip into, but that their 401k has to be a special account that they can use for investment. So they have to look into a CPA or a professional to navigate that type of investing, where they would roll over their 401k into a different Rob's account, where they can use their 401k savings to finance your business. But they should go talk to a professional to set that up. That is one way. You could even use your own 401k money that you've invested, and change that over to a different type of account where you can pull from the 401k. And then whenever they start paying you back on it, money goes straight back into the 401k. You don't get to touch it. You put it right back into that 401k. And do you have anything else to add, Devin?
No, not at all. Yeah,
Okay.
it's great.
All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, where to start? You can have that one, Devin.
Yeah, so where to start? The goal is to start asking now, right? We're in the middle of the lottery kind of going on, so people are talking about it more and more, and then we're going to know who's going to be awarded, in the not too distant future. And the thing is to start the conversations today, to start with a business plan so that you have your own mindset of what you're going to do and which lottery, let's say, you want to get involved in. Do you want to be retail? Do you want to be in the cultivation side? Maybe all you want to do is in the manufacturing or the food and beverage space. You have to define that, and you can't be great at all things at once, especially if you're just starting out. So once you get that in place, you figure out, like I said, the real estate, the equipment, the amount of folks that you're going to need, and what you think your production cycles are going to be like. If you're on the manufacturing or cultivation side, and then if you're on the retail side, what those sales are going to look like, let's say over a 6-month, year window. And, also one of the best places to get knowledge is talk to our friends to the north. Massachusetts, this has been going on for a while. And in this whole environment, it's been going on for actually about 10 years now. So there are plenty of people who have sold their companies in this business. There are plenty of people who have, been starting up and have been around for the past 5 years that you can drive up to Massachusetts and talk with them. That's what I would highly suggest to do, because then you'll, instead of getting hurt from making wrong decisions, you can listen to other entrepreneurs and other people who are in those environments. Go and also start showing up. Plans are great, when you're in a room in a locked environment. but then reality comes, and then you have to deal with it. So the best thing to do is start showing up to events, go to different webinars, talk to other people in the industry, talk to attorneys, consultants, all sorts of folks, because you'll start to get a better picture of what this is actually going to take, what the lift is going to look like, and see if it's actually something you want to do. Because once you're committed and you have this going along, you're going to have other people that are, people that you hire or have their livelihood involved with you. And so you want to make sure that you're trying to do the best you can in order to minimize the risk where you can. So, yeah.
Yeah, and again, make sure your credit is clean. Make sure you filed your taxes. I had somebody call me up and say they didn't do their taxes last year. I'm like, you got to get that situated before you go applying for anything. And if once you have your taxes done, put them in a PDF format so that you're ready to upload that. Your banking statements, get ready, download those, have them ready to upload for anybody who's going to ask you for, about funding you. When you do applications for business loans, all that's got to be, get ready so that you're not taking a week or two to get all the paperwork set. Have it ready. If I'm helping somebody get funding for their business, they're calling me and they need money, they need business, and I give them the list line of paperwork I need. And it's still 2 weeks later, they haven't given me anything or half of what I asked for. It's like, if you're not organized on what you need to have and what you need to do and turn around and get the person what they need right away, then, procrastinating on getting this business up and running is probably not for you. This is going to be a high money, high value business. You're talking about millions of dollars a year, depending on what you're doing. And being highly organized, and if you can manage your personal life of what you need to get done for all the steps that's needed, then you're going to be on the right track to getting this business up and running. Because it's not only, I'm going to open up a shop and I'm going to sell, cannabis through there. You're going to have employees, you're going to have inbound invoices, outbound invoices. You got a lot of stuff to manage, manage security, it's a lot to do. And having a management plan in place is very important. So make sure that you get everything that you need lined up for when you need to upload it. It's like, we need your taxes for the last 3 years. Yep, here it is. Beep, beep, beep. It's ready to go. What else do you need? I need your last 6 months bank statements. Yep, here we go. 6 clicks and there it is. I'm sending to you. Have it ready. So, you stay on top of what you need and what to have. Really will keep you a little bit more organized as well. Have it ready before they ask for it. That's what my plan is always. And let's see, what's the next? All right. I guess we're ready for any questions that anybody might have. This is our information if you want to contact us for after the event. But yes, any questions, we're ready.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, the both of you again, for your wisdom and your knowledge. So there is a question. Will these lenders loan to you to start a non-cannabis business to gain some of the capital and have a viable business for the cannabis business entry?
A non-cannabis business? Well, yeah, I have lenders, and I think Devin might have too. Any type of business you want to start, non-cannabis or cannabis, yeah.
Yeah. So what I also know is that we're looking right now, and we're actually Social Equity Council is going to be meeting with the Banking Commission in a couple of weeks. But we found one bank who is beginning to look at lending and opening accounts for cannabis-related businesses, and that's Bankwell. So we've had some discussions with them over the last couple of weeks. They're putting together their program. I think they're going to their board of directors later this month. So folks should look out for that. But I will tell you what we have learned is the fees for cannabis-related accounts and doing business with banks that will do business with cannabis-related businesses are going to be astronomical. So, you know, it's still not legal on the federal level. It is legal at state by state level. So you're going to really have to keep your eyes open and look at the relationships that you're building with these banks or these lenders and see if this is the right relationship for you. So I don't, yeah, so the answer to this question, I think, Myra, you're saying is that, yes, their banks will loan to you for non-cannabis related businesses, but it's not about building kind of your credit or your reputation with them. They either will or they will not loan for the cannabis side of a business. Okay. The next question says, appreciate this information. Is there any information available regarding the state of Connecticut lending for provisional licenses? So if you're speaking of the state of Connecticut's cannabis low interest loan program, we are in the process of creating that program. We recently were approved $10 million from the Bond Commission to create this low interest loan program. And we are working out the details of that right now with the Department of Economic and Community Development. So stay tuned for this information. And those are the only two questions that we have. Here comes another one. Let's see. What bank would you recommend to start my LLC? So we do not recommend banks to you, not from the Social Equity Council. That's not something we would do. I would recommend that you interview banks like you would interview an employee, and see if that bank is the right bank for you. There's many, many programs, there's many fees, there's many products. And so I would just talk to the various banks and see what bank works for you. Sorry to answer that so fast.
Banks don't start an LLC. You can go through attorney, or I help with creating LLCs. The banks, you could open your LLC bank account with anybody, a credit union, you know, for to do your banking for an LLC. But banks don't help you start an LLC. But
Right. I assume they were talking about establishing their account when they start their LLC, but you're right. You're right.
Credit unions are good too, really good. They're cheaper in their fees, and they're easier to lend from as well.
The next question is, so before you apply for a social equity license, you need the $3 million in. So Jamail Taylor, could you please send that question to sec@ct.gov? Because there's a whole bunch of information that you need to know before you get to the 3 million. So there is an application for social equity. You need to know what license you're applying for. Not all of the licenses are $3 million. So it looks like you need some additional information. So please send this question to sec@ct.gov, and we can have a dialogue with you offline. Green Check Certified can work with you to find financial institutions to work with. That's information.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Green Check Verified. It's they're a firm out of New Haven, and they have a bunch of banking relationships, and they deal with that. So, you know, definitely take a look at them.
Okay. There is 3 forms of certificate of good standing: standard, express, long form. Which one of these, which one is it that you like? I'm not sure what that, if that's a question or, but that's not something. Go ahead.
That might be for the application. I think that's what.
Okay.
If you look at the application requirements, sort of a good standing, maybe that's in the application that they're looking for. So.
Okay, so today we're talking about financing your Canna-Business. So please send this question to sec@ct.gov and we can answer that offline. And then can you say that one more time? Okay, so I'm assuming that you want the Social Equity Council email address, and it's sec@ct.gov. For any question that we didn't answer on here, that's not a part of this topic that we're talking about today, or needs a little bit more information. Okay, there's a couple more. Okay, says thank you. All right. If you have questions related to other subject matters related to social equity, we do have a special email. It is sec@ct.gov. So you can send those questions, even if you have a question after this webinar is over. We check that mailbox on a daily basis and try to get back to you as soon as we possibly can. We get lots and lots of emails in that box. So just please be patient with us. Okay, any other questions related to funding your cannabis business? Okay, there is one more question, sure. Okay, you can send that question through. Okay, we didn't get that question yet. Okay, do private lenders have to show tax returns?
Private lenders are, no, private lenders, if you're approaching a private lender, you're approaching them and they might ask you about your tax returns. The private lender, if you're approaching a private lender, you want to vet them as well. They're saying, yeah, I could lend you $50,000. Ask them where they're getting their funds from, just to verify that they can actually give you $50,000. But, private lender might ask you just to see if you're filing.
This question may also be referring to backers. So if you are referring to backers as private lenders, the tax returns are not something that I think it says that it's required, but we are not going to be really looking at the tax returns of the backers. We've had some conversation about that going back and forth. I think our last council meeting stated that the council would require, but I can tell you that it's not something we're going to be looking at. So I would follow the direction of the application just to make sure that you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed. And if that question was not answered for you, please send it to sec@ct.gov. Are there specific local micro lenders that you could name or list?
I mean, I would look into angel networks that are around the area. There are some angel networks where different investors who may be in a capital pool together are interested in getting exposed to this market. So I would Google that in Connecticut, angel network. Those are usually angel financings, and they provide seed capital and these kind of capitals for these higher risk startups.
Let's see. How will you inform the public of who made it through the first round. So we are talking right now, we are talking about financing your Canna-Business. You can send that question to sec@ct.gov, and we can help you get an answer to that question. Do you have a link to the SBA business plan template? You can also you can go to sba.gov, or you can send this question to sec@ct.gov, but the SBA is sba.gov. Okay. Are we required to have business credit versus personal credit? So we can use a personal line of credit for some funding.
Yeah, you could use personal line of credit to do with it as you please. Business line of credit, if you have a business, let's say you're a restaurateur and you can get a business line of credit, you can leverage that money to do the cannabis infused cooking. It's, you can leverage your business, other business, to start this new business. So
I would also recommend that you check with your bank to make sure that there's no penalties or there's no fees. I mean, even though it's a personal line of credit, it is a credit from a bank that may have restrictions. And so you just don't want to get yourself in trouble by not, kind of telling them that it's going to be used for cannabis. Is that good advice,
yeah,
Myra?
yeah. Sometimes they don't, when you do a personal loan, they don't ask you unless you do like a debt restructuring loan. But most times, they're not asking you what you're using it for. But when you're doing the cannabis, again, you can't bank the money that you're making. You can't really bank it. You got to stuff it in a safe until there's a bank where you can actually deposit your money. So, big deposits into the bank account, they're going to say, where are you, getting this money from, especially if you're putting $10,000 or $20,000 into the bank. They're going to ask you, where's that money coming from? And you say cannabis, they're going to be like, you can't bank here. So yeah, you should let them know what you're going to use it for.
Yeah, and Bankwell being one of the first banks being out of the gate, being public about what's going on, I'm sure that within the coming months you will see a lot of other ones that will come to fruition. So just keep abreast of what's going on in the news, and you'll see public announcements, I'm sure, going on.
I'm answering in the chat. I'm actually sending some of those responses that we just gave. So I'm gonna, our staff attorney is on the line. Koma, are you available?
Yes, I am.
Hi, can you answer the question? I'm glad to see that you're here. Can you answer the question about the tax returns, if that question was around the backer providing tax returns? I know you've been more intimately involved with that conversation than I have.
What's the question specifically?
Well, it said, are private lenders required to show their tax return? I'm assuming that the question is, are backers required to show their tax returns?
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Private lender, if the private lender is going to own more than 5% in the business, then the private lender will be considered as a backer. because backer is defined under Public Act 21-1 as an individual that owns more than 5% and up, maximum 35% ownership in the cannabis establishment. So in that case, they will be considered a backer, and under the current rules, they are required to submit their tax returns.
Thank you.
Sure.
Let's see if we have any new questions here. Okay, we don't have any new questions at this time. Again, if you find later on that you had a question that came up, sec@ct.gov is our email address, and we can answer some questions there. If we could not answer those questions on this webinar, we are happy to have the questions to sec@ct.gov, and we will answer them that way. So again, someone had put in the Q&A that Green Check Verified, a company in New Haven, may help you find banking relationships. So you can Google them. I didn't check out their website, but I'm sure if you Google Green Check Venture, you'll find their location. Here's another question. So if we have backers with less than 5%, they don't have to be listed, correct? Komla, I'm going to let you answer that question.
Thank you, Ginny. If an individual owns less than 5% in the cannabis business, they are not a backer under Public Act 21-1.
Yes.
Okay. Just sending that through. All right. Those are all the questions that we have right now. So we've got about 13 more minutes of this webinar. And you have any questions, please send those. If you are new and just getting on, this is your first time on one of our Lunch and Learns, if you send your email to sec@ct.gov, we will put you on our list of our distribution list. And when we create new webinars, we will send you an invitation to join. So we have another webinar coming up next week. I believe that webinar is about backers and investors. So what they need to know about the cannabis business. So you may want to listen on if we have folks that are angel investors or backers who will be coming on to hear more from CT Next about, you know, what you should know about backing a cannabis business. It might be a good way for you folks to meet some of those individuals. Okay, so yeah, we have some people on. So sec@ct.gov, please send your email, ask to be placed on our distribution list, and you folks will be the first folks that will receive information about webinars and other Social Equity Council information. So again, we're going to be sending out information on our low interest loan program. We're going to be sending out information about our accelerator program. The accelerator program will be a program for those people who are issued provisional licenses, and we will be providing you with some wraparound services. So we'll go over some things like, putting together a business plan, networking, hiring, firing. So everything that we can provide you to stand up your business. As you know, you will have 14 months to stand up your cannabis business once you are issued a provisional license. And so we want to help folks do that. We realize and understand that, some folks may be getting into this for the first time, and there's information that we want you to know to help you be successful. So sec@ct.gov, you can get on our distribution list to hear about the upcoming webinars that we have. Most of our webinars are lunch and learns. So we're hoping to get out to do some more things in person so that we can network a little bit more and do some hands-on and have some really good, robust conversations in person with folks. So stay tuned. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes left. If you have any last minute questions, Myra or Devin, if you have anything that you'd like to say before we check out, I'm going to give you guys the last word unless we have any questions that come in.
I'd like to say thank you for inviting us to the seminar. As always, it's a pleasure talking about helping people finance their business. Whenever I can help, I'm glad to come by.
Thank you.
Yeah, and same here. Just want to say thank you again for allowing us to do this, and I wish you all the best of luck in your venture into this, and hopefully we'll see you around the state here, either in person or online. And feel free to reach out to either of us, the SEC. Everyone's trying to build this new industry here and do the best that they can. So be patient with yourself, and you're going to get through it as long as you're consistent. So.
And like Devin said, go take a trip. Nice days are out there. Go take a trip to Massachusetts. Go visit a few shops. There's one, I think 2 in Springfield that you could go take a look at, see what they're doing, see how they're set up, talk to the owner, talk to the employees, how they like working it. What do they, just go take a look at them. Call cultivators, see if you could go by and see how they're doing it. And search online. There's lots of resources online. There's Facebook groups you could join that talk about cannabis.
Yeah, and check out the Hartford Business Journal. They do a lot of publicizing of information. You can Google. There's also a couple of accelerators that are in other states, but because they're online, they're allowing people from outside. So I will tell you that I registered for an accelerator program that's going to take place in May, and it's like 5:30 to 7:30 I think it's every Tuesday in May. And I just Googled accelerator programs, and this one popped up. It's in New York, and I registered. They said you could register, and you didn't have to be in New York. Massachusetts may have some, California may have some. So, accelerator programs are great programs that kind of give you that injection of information that is that's necessary, that's important around the cannabis business and the cannabis industry.
Are you doing the one in September at the Aqua Turf?
The Hartford Business Journal program?
I think so, at the Aqua Turf.
Yeah, we're in discussions with them now, with the Hartford Business Journal, to participate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's September 14 at the Aqua Turf. Yeah, the Hartford Business Journal. Yeah.
There's an event on this Thursday down in New Haven. It's going on. There's one in Mohegan Sun coming up. So look at Eventbrite. That's a great place to kind of see an aggregate of what's going on, and just try to stay abreast by looking at the Google News of what's kind of coming through all the time. So.
Yeah.
And the New England Cannabis Association, that's a good resource as well. They do events in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York.
Yep. Join, or, and someone is saying here, join different organizations and attend different events. It is really important to be out there, to network, to, to talk to as many people as you can. What I've learned and experienced since I've been involved in this is people are very generous and people want to help and people want this industry to be successful. So, definitely there's folks out there to talk with you, to share information with you, and to help you to be successful. Okay. We've got 5 minutes left. And I think I'm just going to end with, again, telling you that our email address for the Social Equity Council is sec@ct.gov. If you have any questions that you were not able to ask here or questions we were not able to answer on this webinar, you can send those questions. If you want to be on our distribution list, you can send your email to that email address and ask to be placed on our distribution list. And you will begin getting invitations and information on the programs that the Social Equity Council is sponsoring. Okay. And with that said, I think I'm going to give folks 5 minutes back, and we're going to end the webinar. And again, Myra and Devin, you've been with us before. We greatly appreciate your time, your knowledge, your wisdom, your information, and your willingness to share. So thank you. And I'm sure we're going to see you again. If not on another webinar, we'll see it at an event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Henry.
Okay,
right.
folks. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.